So working with horses was very therapeutic. You also work 7 days a week, so there's no time for self-indulgence, drugs, alcohol. Sure, they're an option, but I'm one of the lucky ones because I had a good mother. My mum knew what had happened to me, and if you think of any mother with any credibility and pride, who would want to get their 7-year-old daughter back with the message that accompanied me when she got me back at 7, and the message was that I'd been interfered with. So she is a victim, a secondary victim, because like the sexual clergy abuse in Ballarat, which is where I live, so I'm now privy to a lot of the stories on a personal level. I sit with the men, I sit with people who've been sexually abused, and I'm so privileged that they share their stories and their trauma with me, and I understand because I've always understood. I lived in Perth when I was 16 because I wanted to get my car licence and have my independence. I bought a car and I drove home, but part of living in Perth was living boarding with a beautiful family of 10 children, and the father was an alcoholic. And as getting close to the family, there was a daughter my age, and she was the 5th of 6 daughters in the family, and she told me that the father had sexually interfered and raped all 5 of the girls, and the younger sister was 12. And
Marita, can I ask you, with your own case?
Yes.
My understanding is that it ended up with the case being unable to be heard. I haven't researched a lot as to the effect of that, but I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions. Where do you see your recovery from abuse being now?
I need my money back. I put my money where my mouth was.
Right.
There was no court case.
Right.
I paid to not be heard.
Right.
Hold on, I'll just hit this record button.
Yep.
Make sure I don't forget that. Okay.
You ready? Yeah, so finally, Marita, through all of your journey with your abuse in childhood, what message of hope would you have for other people? And if you were wanting to send a message to people watching this in regard to how they could speak out about their abuse, what would you tell them?
Definitely speak out. Silence is only golden for the abusers, and we need to end that. We're told and taught that we don't talk about that because it's an uncomfortable subject, but that just allows abuse to continue. And we need to give children a voice, and where my journey will go and will end, I've told my abuser in a letter which also contained a signed confession from his co-abuser, he's got genuine remorse. I need my money back, and I will not stop agitating. Why should someone who's telling the truth and who has support in the shape of a husband of nearly 35 years, my sister who was Mother of the Year in 1994 in Perth, and 2 of my brothers all acknowledged that the abuse happened, I need my money back. And when I challenged the system, apparently the statute of limitations in Melbourne only changed in 2015, and I was actually a test case. All that I knew nothing about and meant nothing. I was threatened by the person that I sued. I had a face-to-face meeting, him with his lawyer, on the 20th of April 2015, and after an hour I was threatened physically. for speaking out. The police knew that I went to that meeting, and I have details and records of that meeting. That meeting, before I got home, there was a threatening email.
Yes.
I don't appreciate
Yes.
being threatened for speaking the truth.
So
We need the system to change, Richie, because
the
if they
system
change
needs
the
changing.
law,
Yes.
what's actually changed?
Yes.
Nothing changed.
Yeah.
To add injury to insult or insult to injury, I had a legal bill of 120,000 for not being heard. Now, how is that justice? That's ridiculous. 2 of my 3 perpetrators, or 2 of the 3 persons of interest, have got criminal records, and I still can't get heard. That's crazy.
So if you were to send a message to other survivors about speaking out about child abuse, and it's been a very hard road for you, do you have a message of hope
Yes.
and healing?
Yes. Silence and enablers. Enablers are the people near perpetrators that won't call them out themselves. And perpetrators need to know that one day they could be held accountable for their actions. And that is a very powerful thing. They need to think carefully before they proceed, because in my case it's 50 years. But having said that, I had a beautiful Me Too moment in the street in Collingwood with one of my abusers. 50 years in the making, a forgiveness moment. And that's a very powerful thing. I think it was very enjoyable for him. It made him feel strong. It made him feel good. He has his youngest son. I found a picture of him with his son online, and I printed it off and I took it to him. And I showed it to him. It was my first act when I met him, and I showed it to him, and he said, you could see that his heart melted. And I said, you love that little boy, don't you? And he said, yes, I do. And I showed him a picture of me with my mum when I was a little girl, and I said, my mum loved me too, but something awful happened to me when I was 7.
Okay.
And straight away,
Okay.
he was with me.
So that was a moment of forgiveness, and it produced hope for you.
He said to me, lady, you need your money back. How can I help? How beautiful is that?
That's excellent.
And yet
Thanks,
still,
Marita.
you don't have...
Yeah.
What more do you need in the way of evidence or justice?
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, Me Too's been good. People say it's a hard time to be a man, but I don't think that's really true. I think we just be respectful. Rape is a serious crime. Be respectful of people. It's not hard to be a man. You just, if she's unconscious, if she's drunk, if she's not... Our consent is an issue. It's not an issue with a child. You touch a child in the old days, you used to get hung. If you were caught molesting a child, you used to be hung. And now the boundaries are rubbery and they're all different. It's soul destroing.
Fantastic.
And it's childhood ending.
Thanks, Marita.
Thanks, Marita.